Hi, I'm Fantastic Fox, and I'm here today to talk with you about improving the Super Mario Bros. Wonder music blocks in Super Mario World. These music blocks were provided by Nyako on SMW Central. I'll link it in the description. This is an excellent resource. I absolutely love it. Um, Basically, they work like the blocks in Super Mario Brothers Wonder. They give you a little boost, but you can run across them and they don't bounce you around. And um, in Super Mario Brothers Wonder, they play little music notes when you walk across them. But that's not something that these blocks do. And there are four blocks. They're red, green, blue, and yellow. And there's actually a reason for that. That's the colors that they are in Super Mario Brothers Wonder, but it's also the colors that are set to certain sprite palettes. That's why you have a red Koopa and a blue Koopa and a green Koopa and a yellow Koopa. All those palettes are the same gradients, those different colors, but they're gradients that line up so that you can switch between them freely. And that's the way that this block works. This block, when you're on top of the block, it turns into a sprite that can bounce you up, and the sprite uses the palettes from the selection of sprite palettes. So it is possible, using some of the further off to the right palettes that are kind of unused and meddling a little with some that are used, it's possible, it's technically possible to get 8 blocks, 8 different color blocks. I used 6 because I was able to fit it in really well with minor color changes. Eight is probably way too much because you have to change the player color palette to make that happen. So 6 or 7. 7 I think would be pushing it, but I think you could technically get 7. But 6 I got with no real problem. And I'm gonna show you what that looks like here. And this is the hack I've been working on, Super Video World 2. I'm doing a sequel to my previous hack. So, as you can see here, there's 6 different colors: pink, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. So it's a nice little rainbow effect. And it makes sound. And you can just reorganize them freely. Now, while I said you're kind of stuck with between 6, maybe you can do as few blocks as you want, but you can do as many blocks as maybe 7. Like I said, I did 6. But musically, you can do pretty much whatever notes you want. I think there's technically a limit of how high and low you can go, but you can do any notes you want. I did a scale of C major with some notes missing, but it covers 2 octaves. And basically, that's what I wanted out of the note blocks, was to have more of them in different colors and to have them make sound. So I'm going to help you do that as well. I don't think it's worth uploading to SMW Central, because it's really just minor changes to the to what's already here. Plus, you'd want to customize it anyway for the sound effects and whatnot. So let's start out. Looking at our ASM. Okay, and it's in blocks. So SMBW music blocks. This is what you download from this site. This big download button. You download SMBW music blocks, and I think I've already edited these. Yeah, I changed the map 16 table. I didn't edit these too much because I've still got it set for 4 blocks. I changed the sprite to 1 because I'm already using sprite 0. It starts at sprite 0, and I was already using sprite 0, so I made a sprite 1. But otherwise, this is what you start out with. This is your ASM for the block, and there is also ASM for the sprite. And this is the same. This is this is all what it's supposed to be initially. So this is what it starts out as, and you're going to need to edit some of this. And I know it's going to be kind of dicey to do. But basically, what you're going to end up with is in your blocks. I have 12 rainbow blocks for 12 different music notes. I renamed them to rainbow block to differentiate that they are different, because I did have music block when I first did it. And this is, you really only need the 2 ASM files and the JSON file. You don't need all these blocks unless you're doing sound, but all of them have to have different code in them, and I'll show you the code. Okay, so first of all, here's we have our music block sprite set to 1. This is our map 16 table, and actually I'm gonna open up music block rainbow block 7 so you can see. All right, now I have the sprite set at 2, and this is the same sprite. I just also put it in 2 so that it would reference a different sprite for the other set. And then these are 87, 88, 89, 88, B, and C. So this is one row beneath, and you can have them all go in whatever order you want. And I assume you understand how to insert blocks, because that's necessary. You need to insert the blocks. Create a list. Make sure your list matches this map, these map 16 tables, as you can see in my list here, where GPS is, and then list. So yeah, you can see 277 through 270C, 287 through 280C, and that's so these aren't. So this is map 16 page 2, 277, 278, 287, 288. So that's different. All right, that's our change made to each of these as a separate file, and then also changed is this little play music note. And what this does is load A, and the number, and this needs to be, it needs that pound dollar sign 2D. Now, 2D does not exist in vanilla, in your vanilla code, or in your vanilla file. And that's something that I made, and that's something you're probably going to have to make if you want to have music playing out of them. So that's in. I was in the wrong thing. So basically, I think I have these in 1DF9. Yeah, it says 1DF9 there. Okay. So 2D, and basically this is a sound effect that I created. It just plays the note E4, and this is DA04, that sets the instrument, 0859, that sets the volume, and then this $A8 is the note, and it's just that. That's it. That's that text file, and you can copy this, and you can use let's see here if I can find it right away without there we go. No. How many Kellogg's Presents are there? Sound effect tutorial. Okay. So if you go to this guide, it's going to tell you the basics of making different sound effects. I copied this, the one up, for my instrument, note length, and volume. And then I changed the instrument. I went for something a little more music-y sounding. But this 02 is actually the music box sounding, or marimba. So it actually sounds a little bit more music boxy. So this is good. DA020859. And then these are notes. And you can reference this table: octave 1, octave 2, octave 3, octave 4, octave 5, octave 6. And these are the notes. So you can see it doesn't have octave 0, and it only goes up part of the way, most of the way, through octave 6. So you are missing some notes there. So basically, you're going to create these sound effects files for all the notes that you want it to play. And then you're going to go into the add music sound effects, and you're going to list them. See right here? And this is 1DF9. And these are all my notes, which I named them pretty poorly. I didn't know 2C was silence. So I started at 2C. But then I corrected once I got to 33. So you're going to add all these sound effects in Add Music, the same way you would do music in AMK, just you gotta know how to do that. It's basically reload list.txt from disk. That's where you keep all your list and your sound effects. Reload list.txt from disk and run, and then you choose your Super Mario World file, and it runs. Should be fine. Now all these sound effects are on your ROM, and referencing them, you take the number, which remember that was in here when you saw the sound effect list. All right, 33 is D5. So you want to use this number right here. So LDA pound $, the note you're using, STA $, no pound, 1DF9 or 1DFC, depending on which bank you're using. And you need to do this right here where it says Mario above. That means that when Mario steps on the tile, it plays the music note, and then it runs the code to replace the block with a sprite. If you put this somewhere else, it might interrupt the process, and you might end up with the block disappearing, but the sprite not loading. So right here, Mario above, put your play music note right there, and make sure this is commented out with a semicolon. You don't have to say this, but it keeps the code clean. It's good to have something that tells you, in this case, red, orange, yellow, green, purple, blue, purple. So that should be it for your block. And then you need to insert the block, all the blocks using GPS. And the sprite, I know we need to change the sprite to, there was, let's go back to ASM, because there was one other thing to change, and that is, where is it? This right here, okay? This LDX pound $05. This starts out at 03, and basically what this does is it goes, in this case, it goes from the number 5. It goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So 6 times. It references the map 16 table, and does what it does. I actually don't know too much about the details of the code, but this right here will run it 6 times. Normally it's 3, so it runs it 4 times. So that's, I think, everything that you need to change on here in the block itself. Now in the sprite, which we're using Pixie for, I don't know if anything needs to be changed. Oh, yes, stuff needs to be changed. The JSON file, don't worry about. I'm pretty sure it is what it is. Make sure it references the correct ASM file. If you change the name of your ASM file, you need to change it in the JSON file which I changed it to rainbow block because I wanted to differentiate it. But just make sure that your ASM file directs to the proper ASM file, and that's this one. So this is different right here. This is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And basically, these numbers here refer to the palettes. All right, let's get Lunar Magic going. There we go. 119. That's where I've been doing all this. Okay, so here you can see in my palette, okay, red. What you're looking for right here is these 3 digits after the 11, before the 1. 0, 0, 1, 1, 3 digits, and then 1. And these 3 digits tell which palette to use. So basically 0, 0, 0 is this palette right here. That's the player palette. 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 1 is what is an orange palette, and it starts off pretty orange. This one starts off pretty pink. This one starts off pretty yellow. So basically, I used slight changes in these to make them fit into this color scheme. So 001 is orange. That's right here. And then 010 is red. That's right here. And then 011 is yellow. 100 is green. 101 is blue. And 110 is purple. And if we use this last one, we would have used 111. So all these palettes, all these numbers are binary. You start with 0, 0, 0, then 0, 0, 1, then 0, 1, 0. And it basically, you just have to understand how to count, where every time you increase by 1, if you would get to 2, you instead increase the next place. It's just binary counting. So if you need to look up a reference on, how to use binary for small numbers like that, 1 through 8 in, 3-digit binary, that's what you need to do for these. And you want them to be in the same order, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, as in your other file. Start with the first one and work your way down. This tile, the graphics to use, all right, this goes to GFX 13, which we'll go to right now. Good old YYCHR. So let's open, and we can change this, of course, if we graphics 13. Okay, we're gonna open a palette. All right, this is my block. So right here, this is normally a music block, a note block, the standard note block. And this is what's being referenced by this number here, 6B is the tile it's using. So you can create a custom GFX13, EXGFX, and you can name it whatever number you want. And then you still have access to all of this stuff if you make it EXGFX and you put all this stuff in there and you change your SP. I actually don't know. I don't know what it is, but basically you want to change whatever's referencing this in Lunar Magic to this if you want it to be EXGFX. I just changed my GFX 13 directly. I'm not worried about note blocks looking like note blocks. I don't really use them. So, as you can see, as we go through these palettes, it changes all of them. Because I've drawn this, instead of using these colors, this is the default, is you draw using these colors, and your black and white's over here. Instead, I used these colors, and my black and white's right here. So that it goes through, this is the same idea where it cycles, through them. It cycles through the palettes, except instead of these 4 palettes, it's these 6 palettes. And because it's not referencing this stuff, you could get a gray one. You could do 5 and get a gray one using these palettes. But over here, you have pretty free control. Some of this stuff might affect other stuff. But if you keep it similar, and you've got a free one right here. But that's the other thing, is these, the orange, pink, and yellow here, are generally reflected up here as well. Because remember, you need this palette to match between the sprite and the block. They reference 2 different palette sets, so you have to be able to reference both of them. So you also need all those up here, and this is the same as this is in most cases. Okay, so you've got your block in GFX 13, or you've made an EXGFX. Make sure you make your map 16. Okay, these are our map 16 blocks, which use, in this case, I put them in EXGFX alongside other still graphics, not unanimated graphics, get the all go together. So let's see, what do we have? We've got our blocks. We need to make sure to insert the sprite into where it's being referenced by the block. And I think that's it. I think that's the whole process. Oh, and play the spring sound. So This is in the Sprite ASM, and I changed the spring sound. I made a custom sound because in Super Mario Brothers Wonder, when you jump off the blocks, it plays a few notes. It goes below, below, like it's not your typical jump sound. It's something a little different. And the spring sound I felt was a little too bouncy for the notes for the blocks. So I made my own spring sound, which now you have the wherewithal to do. You can just make a little blow. You know, instead of one note at the end of that block, you put a few notes and you make a sound effect. Um, and I think that's it. That's all really that went into it. This was something that confused me for a while until I started diving in and messing around with stuff, and it took some previous knowledge. So, I figured I'd save some time. I'm sure I figured other people must want these blocks to play sound. Um, so I made this little little tutorial, and I hope it helps you get some fun little note blocks into your game. Um, no need to credit me. Make sure to credit Nyako if you use the blocks. And I used Nyako's sprite that was used in the little in here, the example of the sprite of the block being used. I used the same sprite. I just copied it. I think it looks perfect. I think it looks very much like the note blocks in Super Mario Brothers Wonder. So, yeah, that's it. I'm sorry, Nyako. I know in your README you are very specific about how it needs to be red, green, blue, yellow, and they have to be placed in the level in the order red, green, blue, yellow. I did think that was very funny, but I did it differently. Anyway, thank you for tuning in and have a great day. Bye.